Okay, I'm going to go over all the new Demon Hunter cards, guys, and we can talk about them. First up is Blur. Your hero can't take damage this turn. 0 mana. Yeah, we can see there's loads of Demon Hunter cards. Blur. Your hero can't damage this turn. Do we like Blur? I think Blur sucks. Skip on Blur. Yeah, let's give it out of 4 stars, 1 star. It doesn't do enough. Like you don't mind taking damage. I think it's just can't see this being good unless you're like maybe with the 5 mana weapon later, but it just doesn't work. Twin Slice, 0 mana, give you hero +1 attack this turn, add second slice to your hand. So it's kind of like Backstab, 0 mana, deal 2, right? But you can deal 2 to anything and you can go face with it. So this card's just good. But also, yeah, this card is just good, I think. Because it's very flexible, because it's not quite 0 mana, deal 2, it's 0 mana, deal 1 twice, which means you can like deal 1 and then next turn deal 1 again, right? A twin spell, lol. Enables combos as well. Yep. It's pretty good. Next up, Shadow Hoof Slayer. I'll quite give your hero +1 attack this turn, 1 mana 2/0. It's worth knowing all the cards without a gem are like basic cards. Basic cards are supposed to be worse. Like this card just isn't very good. Like 1 mana 2/1. It's just not a very good card. I mean it's like Elven Archer, basically this card. With 2 attack. I mean, if your opponents are playing 1 health minions, like if someone's playing Sludge Slurper, you could kill this. They kill this Sludge Slurper. You might play this in some aggro deck. Like if the card's okay, like 2 star whatever. Next up, Battle Fiend. Oh, 1 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks, gain +1 attack. This card is the nuts. Your hero always attacks because the Demon Hunter hero power is give your hero +1 attack for 1 mana. So you always end up attacking, right? And yeah, this card, 4 star, basically becomes Flame Imp and bigger so fast. If your opponent can't kill this, they're just dying. You have to hero power on turn 2. You don't have to hero power if you have like Twin Slice in hand. You can just play Twin Slice. I mean, it does die to Backstab and Sack Pact. That's the only worry, right? Next up, Consume Magic, silence enemy minion, outcast, draw a card. So outcast means if it's on the left or right of your card, you get the effect. So the idea is it's a silence card that you can cycle with if it's not useful. But I think this card's still not very good. If it's not being outcast and drawing a card, 1 mana silence a minion just sucks. Like there's a priest card, 0 mana silence, and priest never plays this card. Pretty much, there's a one of in combo priest with heavy cycle. 1 mana draw card isn't very good. I don't think this card's good unless you like have to silence something. I mean, it's just a tech card, right? It's just you wouldn't put this in your deck unless it's something that needs silencing all the time. So it's probably a skip because you don't want to have awkward cards in your hand with other outcast cards. Like it's just awkward. Next up, we have Mana Burn. 1 mana, your opponent has 2 fewer mana crystals next turn. 2 fewer. So you pay 1 mana for your opponent to miss out on 2 mana. So it's kind of like 1 mana less. The idea behind this card is if your opponent's building up for 1 big turn, you can stop it from happening. So if they like have a big AoE card like Priest with Psychic Scream, then you stop, right? This card replaces double Spellworker in Kilber's deck, says Ubra. In chat, yep. Your opponent has 2 mana crystals next turn. Yeah, I think the cards can be a tech, but like again, the idea behind this class is outcast, and with these outcast cards, you can't have cards that sit in your hand doing nothing because they'll block your outcast cards from being played. So I don't think cards like this can really see much play. But maybe situationally blocking certain things, possibly. 1 mana, Urzel Horror. Death Route, add a 2/1 Lost Soul to your hand. Lost Soul is just that. So it's a 1 mana 2/1. Death Route, I'll put a 2/1 in hand. Just some token stuff. The card seems very okay. It's a bit like Firefly, right? Card could just be decent if you're playing a token flood deck sort of thing. Seems like a worse Firefly, yeah, because you can't play a thing next turn. It seems very meh. Probably just bad. Better than Jar Dealer for sure. Next up, Chaos Strike. 2 mana, give your hero +2 attack this turn, draw a card. So, drawing a card is nice. Hero +2 attack, so it's like 2 mana, deal 2. It's like Slam, basically. But your hero has to take the damage. You're going to hit a minion. If you're going to go face, it's okay. I think this card is very meh. It's just not, I don't think this card is going to see much play in Demon Hunter. Like, it gets a bit awkward with all the plus attack stuff. You don't want to end up overkilling things. It's just like quite awkward, I think. But you can play this in a face deck. If you're playing some face Demon Hunter, maybe. It'd be okay there. It's not like you have infinite life, though, in this game. You will just die if you keep on face tanking everything every turn. Next up, Furious Felvin. 2 mana 3/2 Battlecry. If your hero attack this turn, gain +1 attack and rush. So 2 mana 3/2 sucks on its own, but this card does have a potential effect of becoming a 4/2 with rush. Thing is, if you want to attack, say your opponent has nothing to attack for right? On turn 3, you hero power, then play this. It's like, ends up being like a Shadow Bolt if you're going to trade it into a minion that deals 1 face. I don't think it's that amazing. I think this card is very okay. This card isn't going to terrorize the meta or anything. Maybe Twin Slice plus this on turn 2 is like, I really don't think this card is that amazing or anything. It's very meh if you don't get the attack in, if there's like nothing to rush into. This card's okay. I think it's fine, like a 2-star. Next up, Spectral Site. 2 mana, draw a card, outcast, draw another. So if it gets outcast, this card's nuts. 2 mana, draw 2. 2 mana, draw 1, very bad. Meh, but 2 mana, draw 2 is nuts. You can outcast this. Like, sort of you top deck it and just jam it and draw 2. I think this card's quite good with the outcast. You play this in a very cheap deck, so that your hand's often quite empty, so you can get the outcast effect off on the left or right of your hand, and you just draw 2 off it. I think this card's pretty good. What does outcast mean? A bonus if it's played from left or right of the hand. This card is Pot of Greed. Yep. Pot of Greed, draw 2. It just seems good. Next up, Blade Dance. Deal 3 damage equal to hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. Rip Blade Flurry. Bad Blade Flurry. But what does Pot of Greed do? Pot of Greed draws 2 cards. Deal damage equal to your hero's. This card's just worse Blade Flurry, just not very good. I don't think this card's... You have to have a lot of attack on your hero. I mean, it can do a lot of damage with Twin Slice. Plus your hero power. But the thing about cards like this is you'll notice very fast if you play it if you think about trying to make a deck with this, right? What's going to happen to you is if you have cards like this in your hand that you can't play, your outcast cards are going to become very awkward. Like, do you have space for a card like this in your deck? If your opponent doesn't have like multiple minis on board, it's just not doing anything. It's just useless, right? So I just don't see it being very effective because it's going to just stop your outcast cards from working. Maybe if you're playing aggro mirrors, you can play this or something, because it can be powerful. 3 random enemies, like it can really clear a board, but you're going to be like a head on board with this class anyway. Next up, Feast of Souls. 2 mana, draw a card for each friendly minion that died this turn. So this card goes well with the rush cards. There's this rush card, and there's another rush card. This one. In terms of drawing cards, but for card draw, we already have Spectral Site, and I'll come on to later, there is Skull of Gul'dan. So I don't think that you're going to want to play Feast of Souls, because there's just other better card draw cards. I think it's a skip. Next up, Umberwing. 2 mana, 1/2, summon 2 1/2 Felwings. This is like Must of a Battle, but for 2 mana. So 2 mana 2/2, and you deal 2 damage with this. You also increase the attack this does with Twin Slice and with your hero power. So I think this card's just decent, the Umberwing. It's just a decent weapon. It's gonna get you bored on turn 2. Next up, this Iraqi War Blades. 3 mana 2/3 lifesteal. I mean, 3 mana 2/3 weapon just is bad. It does the lifesteal make up for this? I mean, unless you're playing as a pure face deck, I don't really think it. It's more about board, right? I don't like it. I just don't think it's very good. I think it's bad. Coordinated Strike, 3 mana, summon 3/1/1 Eladari with Rush. So there's a 3 mana 3/3 with Rush in the game, and that can value trade, and that card's unplayable. The Warrior 3/3 Rush, and like, I don't see how this card's going to be playable either. There aren't that many combos with 1/1s in this class, so I just don't see this card being played. I think it's just bad. Here we have Satya Overseer, a 3 mana 4/2. After your hero attacks, summon a 2/2 Satya. Satya? I can't pronounce words. 3 mana 4/2 is obviously terrible. There's an original stat line. You have to summon a 2/2 for this to be good. So this is more of a 4-drop. Yeah, this dice the back. So it's more of like a 4-drop when it summons the 2/2. Yeah, so yeah. Satya. I don't think this card's good because it's so unplayable on turn 3. Yeah, all the demons are bad to Zephyrs against that pack. Can't do that. This with Twin Slice can be powerful though, but that is a 2-card combo you have to have. Like, I just don't. There's a card called Henchclan Slide, which is a 3/3, and when you attack, becomes a 4/4, and that sees like no play right now in Hearthstone. Would this see play? I don't think so. I think this card's very. Nah, I don't think this card is going to go into the decks necessarily. Like, if attacking isn't good on your turn 4, then this is it just isn't good. If you need to do something else on your turn 4 rather than attack with your hero, and you can't play this, it just gets stuck in hand and becomes unplayable. I just don't like it's situational. Is my problem. I don't think it's good. Chat thinks he's play though. Next up, Soul Cleave. Lifesteal, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemy minions. So this is like Cleave, but with lifesteal. Cleave is a card that never sees play in Hearthstone. I don't see why this should see play either. It just seems bad to me. Like, it's too situational on your opponent having 2 2-mana minions. Yeah, arena card for sure. Next up, High Beam, 3 mana, lifesteal, deal 3 damage to a minion. Outcast, this costs 0. This card, when this card is top decked and it costs 0, boom. 3 mana, deal 3 lifesteal, nuts. This card is nuts. This card's like, since it's situational, yeah, the opponent has to have a minion, and it's only good for 0 mana. It's not like a 4-star broken card. But this card, yeah, epic. the good card is epic, one could think. But this card's like very strong for a reactive spell. Very strong. Yeah, another Outcast card. The card is powerful. I don't think it's like the Giganuts or anything because it's reactive, but I think you probably play this in your deck because of the Outcast ability, and you're gonna want to play a cheap deck. Next up, Rascale Naga. After a friendly minion dies, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. 3 mana 3/1. So this is unplayable on its own. You have to trade minions. If you can play this and trade minions, it can be good. If you aren't trading off any minions, it's so bad. Like, this could see play with the rush cards, but then I don't think you want to play cards that are bad by themselves to suddenly make this card good. Yeah, it's like Soul Juggler. I think it's very okay. This card, I don't see this card seeing much play. Playing Battlegrounds, yeah, Battlegrounds card. Eladari Fellblade, 4 mana 5/3 rush. Outcast gain immune this turn. So 4 mana 5/3 rush to start off with is pretty trash. But with immune this turn, it does become a lot more powerful. The problem with a card like this, with Outcast, like, you see a lot of these Outcast effects, you want to play the Outcast card the turn you draw it, right? But this is a situational card, so you can't necessarily play it the turn you draw it. Because if there's nothing good to rush into, you don't play it, right? And then if you don't play it the turn you draw it, it goes into the middle of your hand, and what's in the middle of your hand, then it doesn't have Outcast anymore, and it's not good, right? Therefore, I don't think this card's very good. You can't be having situational cards like if you think that I-Beam is better than this card, which I think it is, And like you can't always play I-Beam the turn you draw it, right? Like you can't have multiple cards that you're not multiple outcast cards that you're not playing the turn you draw them, right? Like your hand gets so clogged up. Next up, Raging Fell Screamer, 4 mana 4/4. Battlecry the next demon you play costs 2 less. This card pretty okay. This card isn't a demon. Interesting. It's Dragon Consort. Yeah. 4 mana 4/4, not great stat line, right? Next demon you play costs 2 less. It's not just this turn, it's just the next demon you play costs 2 less. I mean, you can play this to tutor out a big demon fast, right? So we should have a look at the big demons. This can make your pick commander, end of your turn summon a demon from your deck. So this is for the big demon version. There's an aggro version of this deck and there's a big demon version. So I think this card's more for the big demon. You play this card to cheat out this card. Like, play this and then turn 6, you play Hulking Overfiend. 8 mana 5/10. After this minion attacks and kills minion attacks, it may attack again. That's nuts. Like, this into coin this. Crazy. So this card, if there's enough support, we need to see more cards come out. If there's enough support for the big demon version, then you play this in the big demon deck for sure. You don't play this in the Outcast deck, but in the big demon deck, it seems pretty good. Next up, Chaos Nova. This again for the slow deck, deal 4 to all minions. If you have minions, this card sucks. But if you don't have any minions, this card's pretty good. Obviously, Flame Strike for 5, right? So this is a control card. The card's alright. It's pretty unplayable in the aggro for sure. But like maybe in a slower Demon Hunter, but it seems fine in that. But definitely unplayable for the regular deck. You can play this maybe with there's some what are they called? There's some dormant minions. So you play your dormant minion on turn 4, you Chaos Nova on turn 5, and then your dormant minion comes back to life on turn 6, right? So you do this, and yeah, with dormant stuff in a slower deck. Maybe there's a deck there. Card's okay. Clavebound Adept, 5 mana 4/7, Battlecry. If your hero attack this turn, deal 4 damage. This seems like arena card to me. Only works if your hero attacked. Turn 6. This card's this is very meh arena card for me. It does go face for 4 damage. I know. I don't see it though. Or compare this card to poor Rottnest Drake. Oh, Rottnest Drake. Next up, Metamorphosis. Oh my lord. 5 mana. Swap your hero power to deal 5 damage after 2 to swap it back. This 5 damage can go on a minion if you need it to. This 5 damage can go face. Like, it's so good. Like, you play this, and suddenly your opponent's like, wait, I'm just taking 10 over the next 2 turns, I'm just dead. 7 mana Pyroblast, yeah. This card, you play this in like every Demon Hunter deck, I think. Like, turn 6, you can just be deal 5 to a minion, and then you have 5 again next turn, alright? It's double Leroy, it's Leroy Step, yeah. I think the card's nuts. Obviously a legendary card. Gladiator Longbow that ignores Taunt. Yeah, it's so good. If your opponent's like you said, the axe rotates. Your opponent's decks don't have heal. If they're on 10 and you play this, it's just over. You can also play this card if you're like overcommitted on board, right? It's like so nice. Next up, Skull of Gul'dan. Draw 3 outcasts, reduce their cost by 3. So same as outcast before. This card seems insane. 5 mana draw 3 obviously isn't the card you'd play. Like Noesh wasn't played to draw cards, for instance. But outcasts reduce their cost by 3. So you can, oh my god, you top deck this and then you play all the top decks you draw because they're all free. Wondrous Wand for 5 mana almost. This card, yeah. This card be a mega nuts. You play quite a cheap deck with the outcast deck, so you're gonna be able to play this as an outcast effect. So yeah, in low curve deck, this is insane. Like, you're playing a low curve deck without situational cards so that you can play this as soon as possible. It's just nuts. Like, this at the top of the curve of the deck, woof. At the top of the curve, probably Metamorphosis and Skull, right? Next up, Warblades of Azeroth. 5 mana 3/4 weapon. After attacking a minion, your hero may attack again. We saw the problem with this card with Sorthraz and Warrior. If you want this card to be good, you just take infinite damage. Like, you take infinite damage at this card for this card to work on minions. It's just not good. Other than that, if it goes face, it's the same as the rogue weapon that sees no play, Assassin's Blade, right? Just not a good card. Next up, Command the Illidari. 5 mana summon 6 1/1 Illidari with Rush. So there's no token support in this class, according to what Celestian said. So there's no like buffs and stuff. The only thing this works with is the Rascal Naga. It's an 8 mana play. If we're playing the aggro deck, we're playing Skull, right? Which means we don't want to have 5 mana cards like Command in hand. And if we're playing the big demon deck, we could play this as removal, but we have Chaos Nova as a removal on 5, which just seems better. Right, so I don't see Command the Illidari working at the moment. But maybe in a future Demon Hunter stuff, it could be decent. The card's fine if there's support for it. Next up, Raspike Brute, 5 mana 2/6 taunt. After this attack, deal 1 damage to all enemies. It's a demon. So yeah, again, slow big demon build. Is this card good? 5 mana 2/6 taunt is pretty terrible, but the effect is like it has 3 attack already, right? So it's basically a 3/6. If it's not cleared in 1 attack, like it's so annoying. It's token decks, right? This is like just a hard tech to beat token decks because they have to attack it with something, right? This card could be good. Definitely could be good. Next up, Flame Reaper, 7 mana 4/3. Also attacks minions next to whomever your hero attacks. So it's a cleave weapon. Definitely not playing this in the aggro deck. Could be playable in the big demon deck, but again, I don't like. By this point of the game, the opponent's minions are too big for 4 attack cleave to do too much a lot of the time, right? It is like the Death Knight Gauche weapon. It's like 3 frame strikes. But do we have any armor gain in this class? Like, you're not healing or anything. I don't see how these sort of weapons work very well in a deck without any heal effect. I'm not sure. I just don't see it being good. You have the immune. You play this with the immune card with Blur. Yeah, maybe. You can play it with Twin Slice is the promising thing, right? So it deals like 6 AoE or 5 AoE, right? With Twin Slice. So that could be a thing. You can also hit like a 1/1 that's next to a 4/4. Could be. Don't see that much though. Next up, Hulking Overfiend. This is the card, like... I mean, this card just clears so much stuff. Like, against Rogue, aren't all their minions 5/5 or less, apart from, like, Kronks and Edwin? This just clears boards. Like, it just clears boards. It just seems good. You play it for 6 mana in the demon version, or you put it with Pit Commander. You have the Pit Commander here. End of your turn, summon a demon from your deck. 9 mana 7/9 taunt. If you're only playing big demons, isn't this card just decent? You can play it for 7 as well. Yeah, this is end of turn, so it doesn't work with the Rush Guide, but I mean, pulling a 5/10 from your deck is pretty good. Obviously, against Sacrificial Pact, this card looks very bad. We'll see how things work with Sac Pact, but... yeah, I don't see much support for the big demon version right now. Maybe they'll announce more cards for support for big demons, but it looks like already an aggro deck. You're playing Twin Slice, you're playing Battle Fiend, you're playing Skull of Gul'dan, Metamorphosis, probably have I-Beam in there, have the Umberwing for sure, Spectral Site in there, maybe the Furious Felfin, maybe the Shadow Hoof Slayer, like, looking pretty decent. Looking pretty decent, these aggro cards. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Dragon Hunter stuff. Dragon Hunter? Demon Hunter. Yeah.